So we're on page Kuf Tzad.
I had Kuf Tzadi Dalet.
Right?
Or hey. Which one?
We have a marker on the bottom.
Oh, I lost you. I can't hear you.
You don't hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Okay. On the bottom. So this was in the Oifen HaTish'i. He said a person has to make a cheshbon on nefesh. How he's doing the three types of mitzvahs, right? He had broken up the mitzvahs into total Chovos haLevavos, those that are both Chovos haLevavos and Chovos haguf, and those that are totally Chovos haguf. And how I relate to them, how am I? So on the second group, I think that's where you're up to V'kasher hincha oisek on the bottom of Kuf Tzadi Dalet.
Yeah.
When you're doing a mitzvah that you're meant to fulfill it through the body and the heart, you're going, for example, when you're davening, praising Hashem. So you got to say the words, right? You got to talk. On the other hand, you're not a parrot. You have to have kavanas halev. So physically, you have to have guf naki. When you daven, you have to have a guf naki. All those halachas, you can daven, you can't take the Torah when there's a bad smell. After that, you got to stop doing everything else. Because when you daven, you got to be focused on the daven. You can't be doing other things with it. You have to be mashbis as gufcha mikol pula acheres. Whether that act is an olam hazeh, it's a mitzvah. You can't do other mitzvahs. I mean, the we have the rule of oisik b'mitzvah patur min mitzvah, but this seems to be without that, because he's describing how do I do this mitzvah that I'm doing, right? What's the proper way of doing it? It's not a question. Well, can I do? No, part of the tefillah, part of the learning, is part of the praising Hashem. So you have to stop doing everything else. This is already, I guess, well, that part is a little bit, I guess, still Chovos haguf. And here, also in the mind, you have to stop thinking about other things. Anything that disturbs you from tefillah, you have to clear your mind. Rabbi Yosef, we're on the bottom. I don't know if you have the Lev Toif Kuf Tzadi Dalet on the bottom, Kuf Tzadi here on the top. Next page, I mean. We're doing the second type of mitzvah that incorporates the guf and the lev. So he said that first you have to cleanse yourself. You have to have a guf naki when you're davening, and you have to be away from anywhere there's a reach ra. Now he's saying you have to stop doing anything else while you're davening. Whether that action is an olam haza action, it's an olam haba action. And to remove from your heart, from your thoughts, any other machshavas, anything that's matrid you from tefillah, it disturbs you. And then, so to speak, that say toiv that is who you're davening to. You have to bring that to forefront. Who am I davening to? And what do you want with the tefillah? There is a milim about words. There is a teichen and the teichen, but it's about
Substance.
The what? Substance? Okay. What are you expressing? What are you expressing? I always have a problem And it's hard to know. I find it hard to know if I'm objective because I know I'm not objective. Like when they come around collecting stuff during davening, I know I'm not objective because I know it's hard for me to give money away. Right? So therefore, I know that automatically I'm going to find all the rationalizations and justifications to explain why it's wrong for them to collect stuff during davening. Right? And my justification, my rationalization is because unless you're a Superman, for that moment, you're not thinking about what you're saying, right? If you're thinking about giving the guy the money, in my mind goes through who's the guy, how much am I giving him, right? Now I don't have the self control of stopping my davening, giving the stuck and continuing. Besides, if I did do that, it would interrupt the flow of the davening. So it disturbs me. And I have, all those letters, ADHD, I don't know, all those things, right? So concentration comes very difficult. But here he's saying that you're supposed to be anything that's going to be matrid you're. Is he talking to us? Raganovsky, if you're talking, no, you're not talking to us. Okay. If you're talking to us, you were muted. Okay. It disturbs me that, or when they come around, especially when they come around and they give out flyers. I don't know if they do it in America, but in Eretz Yisrael,
do it all the time here.
They have these great little pages, interesting reading with beautiful graphics, and you see everybody pick it up in middle davening and read it. Now, hello.
They come with a poster that's rolled up, and they put it up, and it's on a stand, and they put it up.
Here they don't do that.
Yeah, but they certainly they give it these or whatever they're called, and they stick it in your face. They put it like on your tallis bag, and it's clearly designed to catch your attention, right? It's very nice graphics and the wording. They got all this like shock wording, stuff. They want you to read it, but you're supposed to be davening, and you are davening. So, I don't get it, But I know that a little bit. It's a mitzvah. It's tzedakah, so I'm a little afraid to shoot them down, maybe, and tefillah needs tzedakah, I don't know. But to me, this would a little bit of a support of my statement that it's not the time. It's not the time.
When I'm in Brooklyn, a lot of times I daven in Five Cones old shul. He's not there anymore.
Oh no, where is he?
He's in Lakewood.
Oh, okay.
But in that shul, you can't walk in during davening to collect money. A rule like that, you can't walk in during davening.
Okay. Now some people get around it a little. I know. I see they put the money on the table. They have like either half shekels or shekels, and the people collecting, they take one. They see it. They know they take one. It still distracts me. Whatever it is. Okay. In any case, we certainly have to be. We have to clear our minds from any other thoughts, any other worries, any other. The Mashgiach, Reb Dan Segal says, it's a contradiction during Shemoneh Esrei to be thinking about even your financial problems, because now you're davening, it means you're with Hashem, you have to be talking in Hashem. So, why you worry? If you're worrying, you're not. Hello. Okay. V'da. And you have to, so it says, you have to be thinking who you're davening to. You got to remember God. Right? That's right. Who's the Reb Chaim who says that even though the halacha says you only have to have kavanah samilim in the first bracha with the Evid, right? But he says, but you have to have the whole time kavanah that you're talking to him. Otherwise, you don't have the tzura of tefillah at all. You're not davening. You're reading a book. It's only tefillah if you realize. That's what he's saying here also. You have to have in your mind who you're talking to. Otherwise, you're not davening. And then you have to know what I'm asking for. And okay. The words of tefillah a person verbalizes him. He says, but that's only the peel of the fruit. But thinking about the words, is the fruit itself. You got to say the words, and you got to say clearly and stuff, but without thought. In other words, I can know I'm saying this and I'm talking to Hashem, but without having thought about what I'm saying, I have he's saying the chitzonius, the peel of the fruit, but you don't have the fruit. He says the saying the words is like the body. But then your intent, if you only verbalize, you say the words, but your mind is thinking about other things, which unfortunately I find it often. So your tefillah is like a body without a neshama, klipa bli pri. Because your body's here, but your heart's not there. It's even a little worse because they say, I remember it was Lag Ba'omer, and Ratan Sego was saying his Monday thing, and he says that the Sfarim say that wherever your mind is, your thoughts are, that's where you are. So he says, so we could be here and be in Miran. We don't have to go to Miran. We could be there, but for just our mind is there. The truth, it's true. Like if you're sitting over here, but you're thinking about something, where are you? Your teacher says, hello, where are you? You were away. You were somewhere else, right? There's a story with the Gerer Rebbe, one of that Hasidim, Motzei Shabbos or whatever. They would run past him, he would say, good Vacha, good Shabbos. They'd be running because there was hundreds, thousands of them. And but one guy, he said, Shalom Aleichem. Why are you saying Shalom Aleichem? Because you just davened Shema we were all over the world. So I'm greeting you. You came back. Right? So, but it's the right side, that's true. Where your mind is. So he's saying over here, Shrakufa Nimtza. Only your body's here. Have a libra in it, you might be stressed, but your heart wasn't with you. It was somewhere else. But Adam Kazalim Pasek, the Navi Yeshaya says, Yan, Kiniga Shama Zebepim, Ubisfasav Kipduni. The nation came to me and gave me honor and respect verbally. But their hearts was far away. So even though he's talking about a category here of Guf and Leiv, he seems to be focusing, and maybe this is the only one, of tefillah and praise of Hashem, where both things are going together. Is there any other mitzvahs you would put in this category? Maybe he'll bring something else up. I don't know. But he seems to be talking about tefillah the whole time. That's what it looks like. Okay, let's see. We'll take a look soon in Ramat Yisrael also, if we have time.
My question on this, though, was the next one is things that we do with a group, right? But like putting on tefillin. But tefillin without thought is also.
But that's what he said. He said before, no. Before he started, he had said that the third part, it was a chiddush, but he had said, where is it? 1 minute. He had said on Kuf Tzadi Gimel on the bottom, Gimel mitzvahs hamotelos al avorim bolvad, shekol hashaychus shalevel emirat zois. The only part that the heart has in these mitzvahs, shalav lechavim tchilas hasiyosum shoisoisum shem elikim. Before I do it, I have to Shem Yichud.
Oh, that's right.
And then it says, mitzvah sukkah lulav tzitz mezuzah. It says, that if I'm thinking of other things while I'm doing it, it doesn't take away from the value of the mitzvah. Now, it's a chiddush.
We got
But
the whole thing. You're going to need moving the zone, the kind of mitzvahs, whatever.
It's tefillin. And according to him, then I put on the tefillin, and I can be thinking about it. Now, the truth is, right, that the ikar mitzvah's tefillin is to wear it a whole day, really, while you're doing everything, while you're eating, while you're working, while you're doing everything. The Zilberbergs, there's that movement in Eretz Yisrael. Zilberman. They wear tefillin a whole day. The grandfather, he's the one who was Makar Resort. He says, why not? It's a mitzvah. The mitzvah says to her, why can't we do it? And his followers do. They wear tefillin all the time. So if I'm doing other things, I'm not thinking about tefillin. If you say that the mitzvah of tefillin needs the kavanas halev, it's like a goof, without the pri, then you're not doing it. So you see, it's not true. You don't have to. You have certain halachas. You have to have a goof tahor. It's true, and you have to have a machshavas taharas, I guess. But I don't have to be thinking about tefillin. I mean, that's what haLevavos says. So let me just see over here what he says over here on the bottom before we go too far away. Here. Kankas Rabbeinu Kama Yisodis Inyan Tefillah. The first Tanai is he says, right? Yifne Gufan B'Kol Maseh Olam Maseh B'Yam Haba Afilu Machshava Shel Torah. No thinking about Torah. You're davening. Tanai Hasheni, that you have to have a guf naki. You have to be clean, and your place has to be clean. He adds also v'gam k'dei shel yakir hatino v'alichos machshavtoi. If you're not clean or you're not in a clean place, it'll distract you. But Tanai Hashlishi, achach yala libo yomi mechamet tefillah. So Reish is called tzarich lahochin atzma tefillah. The first thing you have to do when you prepare yourself for tefillah is to prepare to think about who am I davening to. And then from that comes the action of tefillah. The next thing is you have to be thinking what the words mean. He says, he says, they're brought in Shulchan Aruch, Siman Tzadi Ches. The one who davens has to be thinking about what his words mean. You got to say words and think about them. The Yachshav Kilu Shechina Connected. And the other thing is, the Shulchan Aruch says, and you have to be thinking that as if the Shechina is in front of you. He says someone who comes into shul, this is already Ramatzio again, and he puts on tefillin, he opens his siddur and he starts to daven. Is he thinking that he's do you give that thought? It's like sort of a rote. You come in, put on tefillin, you start saying the words. But if you're not thinking about that, you're talking to someone, you're not davening. You're just reading. You could be reading a different book. You're reading Siddur. You're practicing Kriya. You're not davening. Kumashi say that we're going to Chaim Alevi ala Rambam. Shebem Sheshtei Kavanas B'Tefillah. Hilchos Tefillah, right? Rav Chaim writes. There's two parts to Tefillah. Kavanas Oimei B'Fnei Shechina. One is that I'm standing in front of Shechina. Ima Keves. Not because you need the kavana, like in the first bracha, right? You need the kavanah because if you don't have that kavanah that you're standing in front of the screen and talking to him, you're not davening. You're in the library reading a book. If tefillah isn't talking to somebody, and you're just reading a book, it's not an action like. That's what we're saying. That's why it's separate from, let's say, the Maisan mitzvahs. It's not like those things that the action itself is the mitzvah, and you don't need the kavanah. That's what he had said before, right? By lulav, by tefillin, all these things. You don't. Here, part of the action, by definition, is that I'm thinking of what I'm saying and I'm talking to someone. Otherwise, it takes away from the action. The action isn't an action. You're reading a library book. He calls it kriya ela in a kriya siddur. Tefillah, the act of tefillah means I'm talking to Hashem. And if I don't have that recognition, and I don't have that feeling, and that's what I'm thinking, I'm just practicing my reading. This is the only difference between a little child in cheder davening and an adult. Is the kavana. They're both saying the same words. They're reading it fine. A kavana lemihu mispalo. the kavana to who he's davening, shemedava to lamelech, and he's talking out to the king. So the kid in the cheder doesn't have that taka. You know, the kid in the first grade who's reading. And that's what the Chovos said, that even after you clear your mind from what kind of thoughts, adain into tefillah, it's still not tefillah. Tomed lefnei mi hu mispalo. He brings down here on the bottom of his notes the famous Mesilas Yesharim. So let's just see it. Perikut test. Koso shadova kosher b'yosef binyan tefillah. Mesilas Yesharim writes. These are the words. The most difficult part of tefillah hu shemedaber im zulosei is that you're talking to someone else. V'zel l'shoyne shu oimed mamish. This idea that you're standing mamish is not abari yisparach shemay. But nice anyway, and you're talking, you're discussing. It's an interesting expression because nice usually means it's a two-way thing. When you do business, you're nice, it means in feeling usually, I mean, Akash was not talking to you. They say, I think from the Chafetz Chaim that in davening you talk to Hashem, and when learning, Hashem's talking to you. But the expression nice, even though your eyes can't see that you're talking to someone, he says that's the tivak kizeru hayoser kosher. Says Hashem, and see that this is the most difficult thing. That you should really imagine in your heart a true vision, that you're talking to Hashem. Even though your senses have no input. Normally, I see you. Hey, I see you on the Zoom, so I'm talking to you. Here you have to visualize or imagine that you're talking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that he's standing in front of you talking to him, even though you have no input from any of your senses, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu can't be sensed. Says, he gives an example. If someone would give you a phone and tell you, put it by your ear, and talk as if you're talking to somebody. You can't do it. Take a phone that there's nobody on the other side of the line and talk. You can't do it, he said. Right? But when you call someone, then you can talk for a long time. Even though you don't see him, you're talking into a piece of plastic. But when you call them and he's on that line, you can talk for hours. But if you didn't call someone, you feel like an idiot. You can't talk. There's nobody there. Why? Why could you talk to someone on the phone even though you're talking to a piece of plastic? Because you understand, you feel someone's listening. Someone's hearing you. We talking Shazel Tamlam, so it's a telephone. He says, how do we know? Maybe this is why Akash Baruch Hu gave it, that we should invent a telephone, the Horus level, so we should use it as a lesson. She's talking to the Davim Acher that it's possible to talk with someone else. Even though you don't see him. That's why Chovos used to do that a lot with all the modern innovations. He would use them as mashalim in Yiras Shamayim and Avodas Hashem. So he says maybe also Hashem created the telephone so that we could have an easier, thing of being able to speak to someone even though you don't see him. Even though you don't see Hashem, you still feel if you could, and he's saying a nice thing here, he's saying, if I can bring that realization to myself that Hashem is listening, it becomes much easier. The problem talking on telephone when nobody's there because nobody's listening. It's not that you can't see him, because when he is there, even though you don't see him, you can talk to him, right? So he's saying, I'm supposed to learn from there and have that hargosha that Hashem's listening. Don't be caught up in the fact you don't see him, right? He's listening. And as the Mesilas Yesharim continues after he says that it's Yosher Kosher, it's very difficult. However, someone who has an intellect that's developed, with a little thought He could put in his heart the truth of that. That Kosh Baruch Hu's there and he's listening. Like I'm coming and actually having a discussion with Hashem, etc. And Hashem is listening. Just as a person speaks to his friend, and the other is listening. Same thing, Kodesh Baruch Hu. If you use these mashalim and you develop the idea, he says, then it becomes easier. It says it becomes easier. With a little thought. You don't need that much. You can make it real. You can make that real that Hashem is listening. Okay, so let's leave it over here. All right, we'll continue doing that.
Everybody.